Hey everyone, and welcome to your C++ tutorial on inheritance. So let's begin by deleting our hello world instruction and let's define inheritance really quick. So inheritance is an object-oriented programming technique by which an object or class acquires, we'll say, the properties and behaviors, behaviors of another object or class, however you want to think of it. So in inheritance, you have a parent object, we call it, and you have a child object, and that child object inherits from the parent the member variables and functions of that parent class. So, for example, if you have a parent class that has a print method where you print out XYZ, you can create a child method or a child class that inherits from that parent, and without doing anything, you can get that print method that prints XYZ. So I can show you what this looks like. That might make things a little bit easier. Okay, so let's begin by creating our mother class. And in our mother class, let's create a public method that returns a string. We'll call this get hair color. We'll just say that we get our hair color, from your mother. I'm gonna leave it blank for right now because we're gonna need a private variable, and we'll call this hair color. I'm going to initialize this in the class. You really shouldn't do this, but for the sake of this example, just to keep things simple, I'm going to return hair color here, and there we have it. So I just need to finish off my class with a semicolon, and we're good. So we have our mother class. This will obviously be our parent class. It has a get hair color method, and it returns a private member variable of hair color. So let's go down to a couple lines and let's create another class. We'll call this sun. We're going to say it inherits from, this colon indicates, okay, we're going to be inheriting from something. We're going to use the public keyword here, and we're going to be inheriting from mother. So this is how you inherit from another class. I'm going to finish off with a semicolon, and I'm going to leave the body of this class blank. And what you'll see is when I'm going to instantiate these two classes, son and mother, up here. And what you'll see is, or what you should see, is that we get this getter method for free without instantiating anything in our son class. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to create. Oh, you know what I just realized? I declared these below our main method, so we're not going to be able to pick them up. So I'm just going to cut them real quick, and I'm going to paste them above our main method here so that the main method will recognize them. Cool. So I will instantiate our mother object here. We'll call it mom, set it equal to a mother object. I'll do the same thing for son here. We'll instantiate son right there, and we will do a cout here. We'll do sun.getHairColor, and we'll do an end line there. We will also cout. Oops, actually, you know what? Let's do mother first. I'm going to copy this, move it up, and we'll print out mother.getHairColor. As you can see, son and mother here, they both. This is mom. So you can see that the mother class and the son class both have access to the get hair color method. And so let's run this real quick. We'll compile it using our G++ compiler. Yeah, so it's telling us not to do this. It's just a warning, just because it's bad practice, but do that. We can see brown. So what's happening here is that, this function that we're getting has access to our private member variable here, and it's returning the get hair color. Now, if we tried to make a similar method, and we'll say, we'll call this print hair color here in our son class, and we'll say that this is going to be a public method, and it's going to return string. If we try to access our hair color object, you'll see we actually don't have it in our list of autofilled stuff. And that's because this private accessor makes it so that all of the private member variables in the mother class are not accessible to inherited or child classes. So we actually can't access the private member variables of our parent class. We only get our public member variables in this case. However, there is another modifier called protected that makes it so that we actually can access our hair color object here. And so if we go down here, type in hair, and we see we can now access hair color in our child classes. So protected is sort of like the in-between of private and public. Public is accessible to anybody. Private is only accessible in the class. And protected is accessible in the class and by child classes as well. So a protected variable is not accessible like in our main method, for example. Like if I tried to, access the our variable here, if I did mom dot hair color, it's not going to work because we're trying to access it outside of the mom class. But if I tried to access it in our son class, as you can see, it does work. So that's kind of a third accessor that we didn't talk about before because we didn't have any concept for inheritance yet. So I'm bringing this up now because we now have like sort of the tools we need to kind of understand this accessor a little better. So we have our protected variable that we can now access in our child object here. So just to recap really quick, inheritance is an object-oriented programming technique by which objects and classes acquire the properties and behaviors of other classes. So in our example here, we have our son class acquiring the property and the behavior of our mother object, of our parent object. So that if we go down into our main method here, we have this get hair color method that we can call in our son object because it acquires it or inherits it from our mother class. And so this is a really powerful technique in object-oriented programming. What we can also do is we also learned about this new protected access modifier. And what protected does is it makes it so that member variables from our parent class are accessible by our child classes. However, protected member variables are not accessible outside of this inheritance chain. So in any other method that doesn't inherit from the mother class, we're not going to be able to access this hair color member variable. So this is sort of the basics of sort of, inheritance. I hope you learned something. Thanks.